see is Venus, Ishtar, Kali, Minerva, Shakti, Kuan Yin, Lakshmi. I am the goddess divine. I am the goddess divine. I am the goddess ever living. I am the goddess ever loving. I am the goddess divine. I am the goddess divine. I see is Venus, Ishtar, Kali, Minerva, Shakti, Kuan Yin, Lakshmi. I am the goddess divine. I am the goddess divine. I am the goddess creatress of life. I am the goddess who nourishes life. I am the goddess divine. I am the goddess divine. I see as Venus, Ishtar, Kali, Minerva, Shakti, Kuan Yin, Lakshmi. I am the goddess divine. I am the goddess divine. I am the goddess mother of life. I am the goddess bearer of life. I am the goddess divine. I am the goddess divine.
Iceland was created.
Say the way it should be. Moonlight hollow, this awful comet. The angel tears me on a dream. You talk of the break of morning as you get in your arms. his last picture, the end of the evening, you are bending golden dreams and I follow a new world waits for me. My dream, if I have heaven, there is nothing to desire. Rain and river, a world of wonder, may be paradise to me.
This is life. This is magic. It's all a part of life, isn't it? Good morning. Welcome to Open Pagan Church. So many people forget the magic of life. So many people forget the magic of the goddess, Mother Earth, what she's capable of, what she has to offer us. So many people today, Easter Sunday 2017, I'm wearing my Sunday best, Mom. All dressed up. As it is. Well, conversation today is about coming out. Perfect day to do it. Society says you should worship the Son of God today. Society says if you don't go to church today and praise the Lord, our Savior, who gave his life for us, you'll go to hell. Well, I say bollock. I say I don't believe in hell. I believe in karma. I believe in doing right by others and others do right by me. But I came out, many years ago. Can't say I come out of the witch's closet because, well, I'm not a witch. I'm a shaman. Shamans never have closets. I came out from under my rock. That's what I did. I came out from under the rock. I came out of the ground and I said, I'm pagan. If you don't like it, piss off. Back in the earlier years when I first crossed the fire and gave my dedication as a pagan minister and a shaman priest at that time, I was angry. I was angry at society. I was angry at people. I was angry at the discrimination, the repression, the anxieties, and everything else that mainstream fundamentalists put on anyone that's different. I've done this topic many times, and this is just one more time. Good morning to you guys popping in. Coming out is not just the coming out of the LGBT community, which I am so proud of those people who have hung together when they never should have had to begin with. The federal government has no right being in people's bedrooms, being in people's religious lives, lifestyles, what have you. I have family that are pagan, Christian, LGBT, BDSM, and all of the other acronyms that you could possibly imagine and come up with. Many, not most anymore, but many, still live either in the broom closet or they live in the closet of the hidden LGBT pride, if you will, and they shouldn't. This is a video that hopefully a broadcast that younger people will be able to watch later as they're deciding how to come out, how to stand up, how to be recognized, how to protest without destroying public or private property, how to express your anger of public repression. How do you deal with your family? That's one of the biggest things we're here to talk about today, is how do you tell your family you do not match their social norm? And there's also a reverse coming out where pagan families have had children, siblings, other members of the family who have either converted back to or converted over to Christianity or some other religious philosophy. And I've heard tell of some of the fundamentalist pagan families ostracizing that member of the family for not following the family norm. That is just as repressive, discriminative, and hate-mongering that we don't want to have in the community. We've had members of our own family in the HOP convert back to or convert to Christian philosophy. We still embrace them. We still love them. You're still a member of the family. The door is always open, whether you're Christian or pagan, atheist, Jew, agnostic, whatever. I don't care what you believe in. I don't even care if you believe in absolutely nothing. What I care about is that you have a house, whether it's metaphysical or physical, whether it's digital or eye to eye, where you have a house that you can go to and walk into, walk over to, click on, whatever, with people that understand. Do we know what you feel? No. I can't walk in your shoes. Hell, I do good to walk in my own without tripping. I can't live your life for you. I do good to live my own without screwing it up. I can't tell you what to do. I do good to tell myself what to do without telling myself the incorrect freaking thing to do. People come to me and they say, tell me what to do. Pegasus, what am I supposed to do? Where do I go from here? Everything is broken up. Everything is going to hell. My first reaction is to say, okay, tell me your story. But I want you to listen to yourself while you're telling me your story. And then let's talk about it. Sometimes that is the biggest thing that people need more than anything else in the world, is for someone to shut up and listen. In the earlier years, when I was yet a very young priest and a very young pagan minister, I didn't shut up and listen a lot of times. I wanted to jump up and down and beat the gavel and swing the sword and knock the shit out of somebody with my staff. But as I've grown older, I have found that that's not always the best course of action. I have always now found that sometimes the best course of action is to sit down and shut up. And share your story. But share your story with those that will listen. Not trying to walk into a circle of people that knows you from Adam and all of a sudden you're going to dump your woes and sorrows on them. That's not the way it's done. Let's see what folks are writing. One question says, if someone was to commit suicide, would that be their karma? No. Now we get into serious personal philosophies. Me, personally, not as a pagan minister, but Don, just me, I feel like suicide is a chicken shit way out. I feel like it's a coward's way out. However, in retrospect, before people start clicking on exit and start trying to pound on my door with swords and beat me to death because I think suicide is a chicken shit way out, I also am very familiar with all of the different sociological and psychological reasons that would cause someone just to quit. You get those that call you up, you pick up the phone, and I'm going to kill myself. I'm in it. This is it. This is all. Click. Okay. I'll miss you. Want me to light a candle for you? Those are those that are generally out for attention. Then you get those calls from the people that say, look, I'm done. I don't know which way to go. I've reached the bottom of my ropes and I just need somebody to talk to. Okay. Shut up and listen. Do I believe that suicide is their karma? No. Do I believe that suicide sets them up for an acceleration of karma? Yes. Do I believe that the person that commits suicide, if they're pagan, will meet with a faster gates of judgment by their own counsel in Valhalla? Yes, I do. And I know that people tend to get confused when they're not sure which way to go, and that's kind of the reason for the topic of coming out. You know, you have to come out against repression, against bullying, against people that don't agree with your lifestyle or who you are or where you come from. So how do you stand up against that repression? How do you stand up against those who discriminate against you? It's all a part of coming out. It's all a part of not being a member of the society's norm that truly is not normal after all. Normal is people loving people. Normal is people accepting people for who they are. In the same household, you should be able to have people that are heterosexual, homosexual, bisexual, asexual, people who are pagan, Christian, atheist, Jews, agnostic, Muslim, whatever. We're all, at the core, human beings. That's amazing. It's an amazing concept, isn't it? We're human beings, aren't we? Every one of us, somewhere, somehow, began from an egg and a sperm. We began from an egg and a sperm. Science hasn't figured out yet how to produce a baby human being without at least one egg and one sperm. We have to have a gestation period. We have to have a birth of a sort. And they've not yet figured out how to birth a child in a petri dish. So we're all born the same way. We're all procreated the same way. The differences doesn't start until we come out. When we come out and we're being held by our parents, or parental figure, if you will, then the training begins. The training begins with the way we treat the child, the way we deal with the child's mistakes, the way we deal with the child's lifestyle, and the way we deal with the child themselves. My child is being raised that no conversation is taboo. There's nothing she can't bring to me or her mama and talk to us about. If we don't know the answer, we'll find the answer as a family. My daughter attends our pagan churches here on the Open Pagan Church, and she also attends the Christian church with a little friend of hers. They have a Easter ceremony that they're putting on today, a dance that they're doing for the church. That's where my wife will be going a little bit later to be there for that. I would be there for that, but I obviously have commitments here with this and the radio show. I'll get lots of pictures, you know. So how do you do it? How do you come out of the closet? That's hard. Some families, it's a piece of cake. You walk up to your parental figure, be it mom and dad, dad and dad, mom and mom, dad, mom and mom, or dad, dad and mom, depending on your family structure. The family structure is no longer what it was in the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. It's more of a diverse family structure. But yet it always has been. It's just been tucked away very neatly behind closed doors, and no one was ever allowed to know anything about it. The best way to come out, if you have an open-minded family like I do, I sit my mom and my stepmom down one day and I said, look, I'm not Christian, I'm pagan. Here's what it means. Here's how it works. Here's who and what I am. Both of them are like, great. You know what we are, you know who we are. There's no reason why we can't respect each other. And the biggest one that blew my mind back in the mid to late 90s, I went to my biological dad and my stepmom's funeral of my stepmom's mother. I really liked the lady. A wonderful, wonderful lady. And I went to the funeral and I asked my stepmom, used to be a principal of a Southern Baptist school. Yeah. I asked my stepmom, I said, you know I'm pagan. She said, yeah, I don't understand it, but I know what I've been told by others. And she said, you don't strike me as that kind of person. She said, so tell me what it is. I told her. I gave her the 10-second view of what paganism is. I said, I would really like to do the shamanic rites of passage for your mom as a blessing of my love for hers. She said, I would be honored. Of course, my dad kind of tweaked and went a little bit left, you know, bustling and bussing. Mom said, no, you need to calm down. Let the boy do what he needs to do. I like to fell out of the pew. I did the rites of passage. Very quiet, of course. Very quiet ceremony. And when I got up, I gave Mom a hug, stepmom, and hugged my dad. Awkward, but hugged my dad. And we all went to dinner. Nothing else was ever said about it. So that goes to prove that there are abilities and times, it's all down to the timing, to come out to your family, whether whatever non-social society norm that you may be living, there's always a time and a place. I will say, depending on your family dynamics, that a big row or hustle and bustle fight and disagreement of the family, I generally don't think that's the best time to come out. Sometimes that's when it just blurts out. You know, you're having a big row with the family, and you know, you don't ever trust me to make the right choice, and you don't ever believe I can make the right decision, and blah de blah de blah. And oh, by the way, while we're at it, I'm gay. What? Whoa? What? Well, all the tempers and emotions are already up high, so why wouldn't that just increase it? Choose the time. And many families, one or both of your family members, if you have two. So much of the time nowadays, we've got single moms and single dads that are raising the families. A lot of times nowadays, we have Mr. Moms and Mrs. Dads. You know, I mean, we've got the guys staying home, taking care of the family, doing what needs to be done, and taking care of the kids. Mom is out doing the 9 to 5 or whatever, taking care of what needs to be done. Family dynamics over the last 50 years have really changed. But then if you think about it, they really haven't. It's just more in the public eye. It's more in the public eye of what's going on in the family. The hardest thing we can do is sit our family down and tell them something that we think is going to disappoint them or hurt them. Makes it tough. Makes it hard. Coffee. So let's read a little bit about what we've got going on in the chat room over here. We'll be taking a break shortly. Let my voice rest. Let everybody get up and stretch their legs, and we'll come back and talk more about maybe how to handle the repression if the family turns against you, where to go with it and what to do. Let's see what we got here. Brother is a Baptist deacon. We don't talk about it. He accepts what we are, but we just don't talk about it. And there's really kind of actually nothing wrong with that. most of the time in heavy fundamentalist Christian families, they just don't want to hear it. If they ignore it, it'll go away. We're kind of looked upon as the black sheep of the family. Well, you got to be careful around so and so there, because they're pagan, don't you know? And they just really don't believe in prayer and God and all of that. Well, actually, we do. We're perfectly fine with prayer, because prayer is the same thing as casting. It's a conglomeration of energy where we send it to the cosmos. Well, we just happen to believe in God and Goddess instead of just God. Pray around us all you want. Just don't beat me over the head with your Bible. So, yeah, that, believe it or not, that's a norm in most mixed families. The LGBT community, lesbians and gays, really find this a lot in their families. You'll hear certain members of the family during family gatherings, reunions, and what have you, that one of the little matriarch will be standing off to the back, going, "Well, I understand little Johnny's is a little like this, don't you know? And he just really likes the boys, but don't say anything, you'll hurt his feelings." And you get a lot of that. You get a whole lot of that in mixed families. And that's fine. I mean, I'm not the one and little Johnny's not the one that has to look at you in the mirror when you're repressing that individual's lifestyle, or trying to keep it hush hush. Sweep it under the rug. Shove it under the covers. Under the covers? Whoop. No. And that's okay. Society, global society, is very slowly coming around. They're getting there. They're slow, and some people will never change, and that's okay. I tell people all the time, it's not my job to convert you. It's not my job to save your soul by converting you to paganism. That's not part of our canon. That's not part of what we believe. It is my job to educate you on what paganism is, if and only if you're interested in learning. I'll teach or talk to anyone if they're interested in learning. So, in this segment, we understand that we have to come out and talk to our families, irregardless of the reaction we think it's going to be. Because what you don't realize is, by carrying that weight, that stress on you, it's going to increase your anger. It's going to increase your anxieties and stress. It can and will and does in most cases cause health issues, health problems, because you're carrying all of that undue stress. When most of the time, one or most of your parental figures, your family members, either knew it or knows it anyway. Talk to your family. We're gonna go. We're gonna go into a break. Let me rest my voice for a minute, and give everybody a chance to pause for the calls. We'll be back here shortly, and hope you're enjoying the music. The link is in the link is in the chat area over there. Trying to get past the commercial. Here we go. Right. Well, let's take about 5 or 6 minutes and a pause for the calls, and we'll see you right back here, Open Pagan Church. Today's topic, coming out.
Will sie aber mir
right. Well, let's, I want to do a little bit of mic adjustment before we get started. Um, some folks were saying my mic seems a little muffled, right? So we're going to try to adjust it a little bit here. Thank you very much. Dr. Pepper, out of coffee. Ah. All right. So, if everybody can hear me okay, or if anyone who couldn't hear me before, let me know if I'm doing a little better, please. All right. I know we've got a bit of a lag. Okay, great. Cindy says that is much better. And so we will get ready here. All right. So our topic today is coming out. Whether you're coming out of the broom closet, out from under the shamanic rock, or out of the druidic forest, so to speak, or if you're coming out of the LGBT closet or out from under the covers, you have to talk to your family. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend to tell you what to do, but it's been my experience that if you talk to and communicate with family, friends, and I'm not saying you need to take a megaphone out in the streets and do whatever makes you uncomfortable. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying stand up for who and what you are. If you're pagan, you're pagan. My job knows I'm pagan. Everybody I work with knows I'm pagan. They know that periodically I take Sabbaths off to celebrate the Sabbath the way I celebrate the Sabbath. My boss is fine with it. I have lost jobs because I'm pagan. I worked with I worked with a job one day. One day. And I was sitting at lunch with all of the other contractors, and we were getting ready to perform a great big migration of computers. And it was the year that England held the Olympics, and they had the Tree of Life. And I sit there and I'm listening to these idiots put down England because they use it. Well, what is about this Tree of Life crap? What's all of this and that? And they were just blah 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 blah. And sorry, I'd had all I could stand. And I said, well, it's not really all that. I said, ancient beliefs since the beginning of man have held real close to the Tree of Life that everything stems from Mother Earth. And this twit sitting to the right of me, about my age, said, what are you, some kind of pagan or something? Well, now that you mention it, yeah, I am. I'm also a study of religious philosophies. And I just let it drop, going back to eating my lunch, and everybody at the table got real quiet. And I remember thinking to myself, well, there goes this one down the tubes, but you know what? I don't give a damn. The next day, the hiring manager meets me at the front door. I get out of my car, I gather my stuff, I'm ready to go to work. He meets me at the door and he says, Mr. Maxwell, I'm sorry, your contract here is done. You don't fit what the company is looking for. You don't fit the criteria that the company is looking for. Okay. So I got in the car, and of course this was 7 o'clock in the morning. So I waited till 8. I called my contracting handler and I said, well, that one went down the tubes. He's like, what happened? So I told him. He said, is there any way you can prove religious discrimination? I said, no, not in Texas. I said, the man looked me square in the face and said, I did not meet company criteria. I was not what the company was looking for. In Texas, they're covered. In Texas, you don't have a right. You don't have to have a right to fire somebody. You can fire somebody because they got the wrong color shirt on. All you got to do is say, I'm sorry, this individual doesn't meet what we're looking for with inside the company criteria. And you're done. Out the door. Yeah. So, how do you tell? How do you do it? I mean, how do you deal with the fundamentalist, closed-minded, backwater society and uneducated rhetoric of people? I would say it's easy, because for me it is. I just don't deal with it. My whole thought process is, if you don't like me, my lifestyle, if you don't like the way my wife and I live our lifestyle, if you don't like the way we live in our daily lives, then bad on you. Piss off. Adios. Have a nice day. I'm not here to please you or your family or make you feel better about yourself or stroke your ego. I am here, me, my family, and our home. We have jobs. We have a daughter, very educated young lady, essentially most of the time A.B. honor roll, very smart, intelligent young lady, very well-rounded. And she's being raised in a pagan home with lesbian grandparents. And she's A.B. honor roll. Everybody loves her. They talk about how well educated and how well-rounded she is and how intelligent she is. Oh my God. Yeah, so how do you deal with the repression of a fundamentalist, discriminatory society? Don't. Don't take on the responsibility of trying to make everyone else happy. It's not your responsibility. It's not your responsibility to make the person happy that is unhappy with your choices of life. Now, don't get me wrong. Don't take this 180 degrees out and become an alcoholic or a drug addict and say, oh, well, Pegasus told me to tell you if you don't like it, get over it. No. I'm not talking about being an addict, you twit. I'm talking about lifestyle. No matter what lifestyle you're in, it's not anybody else's business. Now, I'm not talking about rape or robbery or any of the other crap. I'm talking about, are you a swinger? Are you into polyamory? Are you into BDS&M? Are you just into BD? Or just S&M? Sex and money. I like S&M. Sex and money. Anyway, my point. Are you in the LGBT community? Are you a cross-dresser? Nah. Can anybody see me cross-dressing? That'd be funny. Basically, essentially, you're going to find yourself in situations Hopefully not, but unfortunately so. You're going to find yourself in situations where people are not going to be able to accept you for who and what you are. And I'm sorry for them, but it is what it is. And in one way, shape, form, or fashion, folks, it's always going to be that way. And if you're in the younger generation and you're reading this broadcast later, and you've been piddling through Facebook, or you've been piddling through one of the other social networks that I'm on, and you see this video, this message essentially right now is for you. Be who you are. Live your lifestyle honorably. Don't ram down the throat of your family who and what you are. But if you have a loved one, and that loved one happens to be of the same sex, gender, okay? Let's say you're a male and your husband, a male, obviously. And here's where it really gets some of them, and I love this. I just love it. I've seen families that, well, my son is gay. I'm really proud of him. He stood up. But he's with a black guy. Okay, wait. What is it? Wait. What difference does it have to make what color of individual you're with? If you're Japanese and you're homosexual and you happen to be Japanese with a white guy, oh well. If you happen to be Hispanic and you're with a white or a black or a Japanese or an Indian, or who the hell cares? Love doesn't pick a color. Love doesn't pick a sex. Love doesn't pick what you fall in love with. Case in point. You meet someone, you really like them, you want to bring them home to your family to meet them. Don't be embarrassed about the one you're with. Pay attention to what I just said very, very closely. Do not be embarrassed by the one you're with. Because if you're embarrassed to take the person that you're with, that you're having intimate relations with, and that you're possibly thinking about moving in with or marrying, or moving forward the next step with the relationship, if you're embarrassed about that relationship when it comes to meeting your family, I promise that relationship's not going to last. It can't. Because it's formed on false pretenses. Think about that. If your family says, well, you can come, but your life mate can't because we can't agree with your mate. Sorry, I won't be there. And many of you know that my wife and I kind of got together on some very odd pretenses. And I don't go to family celebrations on her side of the family. Not because she's embarrassed about our relationship, but because I respect her and her family and their wishes. Okay, that's fine. That is between her and her family. I very carefully said from the beginning, I don't need to go to the family gatherings because, I mean, that's between you and your family. And there's a whole lot of personal stuff that goes along with that. That's not important here. But what is important is that you and your mate, whoever that is, you have to make those decisions as a couple. When you get into a relationship, you're no longer me, I. You are we, us. And if in that relationship it becomes about me or I, then you need to question the relationship. So the way you go against a combative family and the way you go against a family structure that will not and cannot support who and what you are, that's not your problem. It is, because it breaks your heart. You miss your family. I get that. But that's not your problem. If you accept your relationship and you accept who you are and you come together as a couple and the communication is good and life is good, you're not hiding things from each other. It is your family's responsibility to accept you because you are still their son. You're still their daughter. You're still their family, their brother, their sister, aunt, uncle, cousin, blah, de blah, de blah, whatever. You're still family. So, how do you deal with the repression and the ostracism, being ostracized from the outside family? You don't. You don't. You just simply say whatever it is that you feel you need to say. But you cannot take responsibility for their actions when you're doing what you need to do within your life, your marriage, your relationship, what has come together with you. Coming out is hard to do. It really is. It's always tough. Especially when you're coming out about something that is outside of the societally accepted norm. And there's always going to be some things that families can't handle. Some things families can't deal with. That happens. And it looks like Facebook is tripping. Well, no, it's still going. Yeah, that's funny. All right, well, so what we're going to do here real quick, we're 22 minutes past the hour, and I'm going to go ahead and take another break. As you well know, we're here till 50 minutes, or till 10 minutes before the hour, because of my radio show that starts at 11 a.m. Central Time over on UnitedPaganRadio.net. Check them out. We're going to take a real quick pause for the cause and come back and finish up our segment here on Open Pagan Church, Coming Out. We'll be right back.
Drawn to the place of Persephone, drawn to the dark passage dark passageway under the white cypress tree, fixed by the eyes of Persephone.
All right. Well, let's kind of get finished up here. I left it paused on that one picture for just a moment. Think about how many of us reach for what's not there. Or is it really there and we're just not seeing it? Is it really something that we're missing? Welcome back. Open Pagan Church coming out. Post says, I've seen a person that cross-dresses with a full beard. Comes up to me and we talk about paganism. There's not a dang thing wrong with that. I mean, I just don't get a big picture of me in a dress. I don't got the legs for it, and I ain't shaving my legs. Anyway, on a more serious side, there's a question in the chat that really tugs at the heartstrings, because it happens more often than not, sadly, truly sad, that families have to do this. It says, what if your family disowns you because you left your ex? Your daughter-in-law will not allow you to see your son and grandchildren. Says, I feel so lost right now. Well, that's sad, and that's kind of part of what this whole thing is about. If a member of your family, either estranged, ex, new family, whatever, because of your religious sexuality, lifestyle, whatever choices you've made for your life, people come and people go. Relationships start, run their course, and end. Not every relationship ends with the parting or the death of another. Not every relationship is until life do you part, or until death do you part, sorry. Even though that may have been one of the things you said during your marriage ceremony. In the beginning, when things are young and they're quick and the relationship is new and exciting, and we're all about till death do we part. Sadly, people grow apart. We hope when we get in a relationship that we'll grow apart for a minute and then grow right back together. Or we'll grow together through the ups and the downs, and the rights and the lefts, and the good and the bad, that we're going to hold this together. But there are times that cracks begin in the relationship and things begin to veer apart. It is, and in answer to your question, in answer to all of your questions that might be along those lines in that one paragraph, you have nothing else you can do except let those people be who they are. If your son from your prior marriage allows his wife, your daughter-in-law, from that prior marriage to force that wedge between you and your son, that is your son's bad, not yours. That is your son's responsibility to stand up and say, no, that's my mom. That is my children's grandmother. We are going to go see them. If you don't want to, talking to his wife or talking to their significant other, if it's other lifestyle events, that's up to them. There is nothing you can do to fix that. Yes, it breaks your heart. And yes, you wish you didn't have to go through with that. But when you have family that treats you that way and makes those choices, then if it's a biological son and the biological son is allowing the wife to do that, then it's up to them. It's the son's bad. So, I'm getting a quick request for a quick break. We're going to go back to the music real quick. It won't be but a minute, and I'll be right back. Here we go. Stand by.
I will go. I will follow you down to the river of forgetfulness.
How many sides does a pentagon have?
5.
What causes disease?
Bacteria.
How many letters are in the alphabet?
26.
Right, I'm back. All right, yeah, got all the switches flipped and the buttons pushed, and yep, that was the girls headed out for my daughter's Easter thing at the church there. I will. Yeah, where were we? Anyway, I hope I was able to maybe answer your question. I apologize for the impromptu break, but had to give hugs and kisses and wishes of the best for my daughter. She's off to dance. She wouldn't let me put her on live on here so you guys could get a look at how beautifully dressed she is, looking all ready to go and what have you. Yeah, gonna have to follow that one with a shotgun, I am. So, we have another post down. Oh. Christian lady, daughter, door. Sorry. My morbid sense of humor got a giggle out of that one. I'll let y'all read it. It's in the chat area. Just above where the family post is. So, we're 33 minutes past the hour by my clock. We shut it down at 10 till. Again, for UnitedPaganRadio.net and my radio show over there. And if you want to know what the topic's about, you'll have to go to my Facebook page called Coffee with Pegasus. Yeah. What do we do? I mean, yeah, we've rambled a lot about the different things that happens, and I've given suggestions and recommendations in the middle of conversation of how to handle coming out. At the end of the day, you got to admit who and what you are. You know, you have to admit who and what you are. You don't always fall in love with the society norm. But boy, am I the first one to understand that one. And you don't always live the society accepted philosophies, religions, and ideologies. The world is a great big place full of hundreds of millions of different lifestyles, philosophies, ideas, people who live in huts, whose idea of educating their children is teaching them how to fish and hunt and take care of their family, because in these particular societies they have no need for the written word. And the first thing some of these Christian society do-gooders want to do is go in and change thousands of years of family philosophies that work in these villages. They want to walk into these villages, and these villages have been praying to these gods and goddesses for thousands of years, and they think they have to convert them over to the way of Jesus so they can be saved. Praise the Lord. No. No. I don't support that. Go into the villages and learn their way. People come into my house that are non-pagan. Do not proselytize to me. I am welcome to discuss philosophies and ideologies with you, but I'm not going to convert simply to make you feel better about yourself. I'm not going to change my lifestyle, my love philosophies, the things I believe in, or any of that to make you feel better about yourself. And neither should you. You shouldn't have to either. And that is the whole point to the conversation of coming out. You should not have to change your ideological lifestyle, your fundamental belief systems, not fundamentalist belief systems, but your base spiritual ideals, who you are and what you think. In coming out, whether you're gay, you're straight, transgender, whether you're shaman, witch, druid, no matter what lifestyle you choose, whether you're polyamorous, whatever, stand up for who you are. If your family chooses to keep young ones away from you because they're afraid you will convert them to paganism. Any true pagan out there knows that's not our way. That's not what we do. If you want to know who we are, we will tell you. If you want to learn our way, we will teach you. But it is not our way to convert anyone. It is the pagan way to live as happy a life as possible, to be with our families, to be in circle, to enjoy the energies of God and Goddess, and Mother Earth. That's the essential pagan way. But when you're living a lifestyle outside of the naturally accepted norm, the only thing you can do is tell your family who you are. Sit them down. Don't make it all serious and mysterious and, oh my God, I'm this and that, and don't say it to them like you're embarrassed. This is your lifestyle. Whether you're LGBT community, atheist, agnostic, Jewish, pagan, Muslim, blah, 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 blah. As long as your chosen religion is not out trying to commit hara-kiri and kill others who are not like you. What difference does it make what your religious philosophy is? So, those of you who watch this broadcast later, and those of you watching it now, take to heart, be who you are. Don't let others repress you for who they want you to be, or who they think they want you to be, because that's not even cool. And if your families want to completely disown you, don't get mad at me, because I'm the one that suggested you tell them. It's perfectly okay to be angry at your family because they disown you, because you've chosen a lifestyle that is not within the natural norm. It's okay to be angry. It's not okay, however, to lash out and strike out at them in anger. You have a life to live. Live your life. Your family will either eventually learn to accept you for who you are and who your loved one is, or they won't. How you deal with that with your mate is between you and your mate. It's none of anyone else's business. And a million people will give you a million different ideas of how you should deal with it. I say, you just deal with it. Be with your loved one. Work together as a team. Grow together as a team. Don't allow your family members or friends to come between that. Don't allow them to try to sway you because, oh my God, you're hurting the family. Well, I get that. And we don't try to do things to hurt families. But sometimes we fall in love with people that we just fall in love with people. And we make those decisions and choices off of that. Family is family. I have a number of people in my family that have gone and done some really pretty off-the-wall stuff. But they're still my family. I have people in the HOP that have been a part of my family for well over 10 years. 15, 20 years in some cases. And they've gone off and done some pretty hairy-carry shit. But they're still my family. Family is not always blood kin. Family are those people that come together and you get that click. You make that formation called family. Coming out is not always easy to do. But it's also, if you think about it, it's not as hard as some people would make it. One, admit to yourself who and what you are. 2, accept who and what you are. And 3, do not put it upon yourself to make others accept you. That is their responsibility, not yours. You cannot take responsibility for other people not accepting you for who you are. Whether you're a bearded cross-dresser or you're in a polyamorous relationship, whether you're in an age gap marriage such as myself, whether you're in a gay or lesbian marriage such as millions of people today, whether you're in a interracial relationship, and that even goes right on to interracial, homosexual, polyamorous relationships. I think I probably touched all of the taboos right there. Be who you are, folks. Don't get belligerent. And don't be rude with who you are. Live your life. Others will either accept you for who you are or they will not. If they don't, that's not your bad. You cannot control whether or not others accept you. So, that's about all I can beat this topic. I want to thank to all of those of you who kind of blew through and watched a few minutes of the channel and the broadcast, and those of you who watched the pre-broadcast later. Have a great day. Have a good life. And be who you are. Stop trying to force who you are on others. Just let them get used to who you are. Love and blessings to all. Have a great week.